This is Comic Book Lexicon. I'm Stephen Thomas.
And I'm Josh from Grand Rapids.
We just went out sort of last minute and decided to go dig some comics, and we came back with some pretty cool stuff. The first thing that I picked up was this SpiderMan and the Black Widow Marvel team-up. So I don't know why. I don't really even have that deep of an interest in Spider-Man, but I just thought this cover was awesome.
It's Claremont, and I don't think we'll ever see Silver Samurai look as good as he does there.
No, it's awesome with the red eyes and the... Looks a little bit like a He-Man character or something.
Yeah, he does.
So that was the first thing that I got.
I bet if you squeeze his legs together, his torso will spin around.
Some action.
So he can cut you in half with a sword. Yeah. Here's one that you gave me. There's a bunch of cool Sienkiewicz stuff in there. But I think you gave it to me because the Blevins cover, right?
Yeah, well, I just thought the Straight Toaster shit was super cool, and then you know, you've always talked about this guy and how big of an influence he was on your artwork. But I just thought, and I wasn't even that familiar with what Marvel Age was. Like I sort of seen them. I have a few other of these, but it's just like a sort of an articles about what's coming out. Is that?
Yeah, it's them talking about themselves.
Yeah. So, but
it
then
always had like fun stuff included in it.
Yeah.
I forget this cartoonist's name, but these segments became so popular that they had him do a couple specials, like a couple Marvel comic specials where he just did the whole comic.
I did see, you know what I saw the other day was the Fantastic Four roast issue. The roast of the Fantastic Four, and I was like, what the fuck?
That just makes me excited to pull out the fucking Don Rickles, Jimmy Olsen issues that I just got.
So yeah, I said the Straight Toaster shit was super cool, so.
Don't have them here, but
when we first got there, I just saw this bin, and I think they had just bought back a collection of Bronze Age stuff.
Yeah.
So they had all this stuff for a lot of them for $3 a piece, and I'm slowly starting to put together the run of the Silver Surfer. Even if most of them are these reprints from 1979, they're on newsprint. They look really nice.
Right.
So I was lucky when we got home. I was afraid I already had this one, but I did not. So I'm grateful.
You're not the only one grabbing Spider-Mans, even though you're not terribly interested in the character lately. Like, we got John Romita Sr. on the inside, this beautiful cover with the Prowler. So you've got a couple of the probably best designed costumes ever fighting each other.
I love the big spotlight thing on the cover, like this.
Yeah. Proto corner box.
Yeah.
And this is another one of those reprints. Marvel Tales are like Spider-Man reprints, kind of. But we both really enjoyed this. You've got Captain Stacy over here, dead, and Gwen crying. I thought he loved me as I love him. But ever since Spider-Man killed my father, Peter has been acting strangely. Like, such an interesting landmark for your boyfriend to be acting strangely towards you. Almost like the writer knew more than the characters and didn't have the skill or the time to go about it with any nuance whatsoever.
Not.
Stan Lee and his subtlety.
So in the Bronze Age box, they had a bunch of war comics.
God, yeah.
Like some really interesting ones.
We could have, with $3 comics, easily have spent $100 a pop.
Yeah. Definitely. But we each picked out one that we really liked. This was one that I liked. This is a Joe Kubert cover. I think yours is also Joe Kubert, right?
Mine is, yeah.
I just thought this was so intense. This unknown soldier. There he is with this bandaged face, lurking, and then she's about to get her head lopped off.
Yeah, just
They're pretty dark.
QB really wants to put the darkness up front for these kids. for these children reading stories about what their dads were up to 30 years before. Okay. And after we brought this home, I looked a little bit into what Blitzkrieg was all about, because I've seen a bunch of war comics, but I don't think you or I have either.
No.
Either of us have seen this. So, like, Blitzkrieg was a short-run American war comic by DC, obviously. And apparently, like, they marketed themselves on the fact that it was a book about Nazis, so it's like Nazi exploitation. Some of them had a tagline of, like, we dare to be different. But it was always about how the Nazis were bad guys, so it didn't do the enemy ace shit where, like, sometimes it's a sympathetic character.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. World War I and World War II were quite a bit different. But, yeah, just like yours here, the brutality of this Kubert cover just immediately arrested me. You got these motherfuckers strung up in, I'm guessing, trees in their own parachutes, just getting picked off by Nazis.
Yeah, it's just like one of those sucky situations where, like, you got stuck in a tree and all of a sudden... I think the most ominous thing for me about this cover is you don't even notice it at first, but you have this person's leg coming down.
Yeah, it's such a good composition. Yeah. Like, you have enough obscuring it. Like, you know he left this for the title on purpose. And it was like he may as well have just, like, laid all the stats or whatever down himself.
Yeah.
Because it looks like everything's where it's supposed to be, and you're supposed to very last second realize you're staring through the ankles of this fucking dead guy.
Yeah, I wonder what the original artwork for something like this is worth, because it's not a popular title, but it's Joe Kubert, and it's like insanely, gorgeous, even though it's like, pretty ominous, but it's artistically it's beautiful or whatever.
I want to steal that font.
Another random Marvel grab. This was in the Bronze Age box, a book that I probably wouldn't grab otherwise, but I don't know why I was interested in this one. It just spoke to me. I think some of it was not what's happening here, but this strange spiked tank shooting poisonous gas out.
Yeah, it's like a G.I. Joe toy.
Yeah. So I don't know why I thought that was cool, but for $1.50, I grabbed it.
Grabbed this joint here, another SpiderMan. Interesting to chase the 2-in-1 with the Marvel team up too. But I grabbed this because it was Black Panther. I initially erroneously thought that it was Claremont, but it's Len Wein writing. I bumped into it and almost bought it before when I was looking for the handful of Marvel team-ups that Claremont wrote. 5 minutes before this video started, we talked about like different Black Panther stories that we really like. There's like, even before the movies, Black Panther was a really cool character. And there's certain things that you bump into it when you're a kid and make a very definite impression. And he and I saw the same story from Marvel Comics Presents, drawn by Gene Colan. And so, like, anything else from that era or just leading up to it.
Wait, before you put that one away, let me see that a second. The thing that I didn't notice when you were looking at this before was the bad guy in this.
Oh, Stegron, you mean?
Stegron.
Yeah.
I was not familiar.
The guy that changed into a Stegosaurus on purpose.
I was not familiar with Stegron as a character. But it's still at large and out for blood. Stegron, the dinosaur man. Pretty intense.
Yes.
These were the first things that I saw when I was going through those bins was Tomb of Dracula. Like, we were talking about before. I really like Gene Colan as an artist. And then seeing the old school Blade on the covers, I wasn't going to leave these behind. I just love the way the old school Blade looks like with the like trench coat and the cape and those goggles. I don't know.
Have you ever, like... So one of the big complaints with, like, new superhero costumes is how they're throwing the fantastic elements of them away.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes everyone look like a cosplayer.
Yeah.
Because it all looks like shit you could legit make. Like, you understand the costumes. I have never seen anybody cosplay as Bronze Age Blade, and I'm asking myself now, why the fuck not?
I know. It looks awesome.
You have all of this in your closet.
Yes. I mean, you could, just to have, like, a wooden stake or, like, a piece of wood in your hand. Like, here he is again. So I got these 3 because they all had blade in them, but that's a good observation. It would probably look badass.
Right.
Like the person who, like, had the big, because you go to Goodwill, get a trench coat.
Yeah.
Some green pants, a cape, get a belt to put over your, sling over your shoulder. I don't know. That's a good point. Probably because not as enough people maybe recognize what it is. I don't know.
It's just like, I don't know, so many, like, big time black characters have, like, their face covered up or some sort of mask, and it's like this. It's like you don't even need a fucking $200 pair of Oakleys, bro. Whatever. Jack Kirby, Commandy, fighting a big dumb toy. I don't know if you remember. I mean, one, this is kinky as fuck, and I'm into it. But and I forgot about this. Did you get Boy's Life when you were a kid?
No.
Probably not.
No.
I don't even know how I ended up getting it, but it had comics in it.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, Mom, go ahead and keep getting me Boy's Life. And there were these comics that had this, like, 1970s to, like, maybe 1981, 83 vibe to them. They were all drawn this style, where it's almost like Walt Simonson trying to draw really realistic.
Yeah, it looks like a pen or...
Yeah. And it would be, like, these Boy Scout stories of, like, what I did when how I played first responder when my friend's hand got cut off. Shit. So it was, like, always, like, this type of shit that looks like it's the beginning of a fucking textbook scenario, but it, like, ends with, like, children covered in blood or, like, on fire. They were so tight. But anyway.
Like those gruesome lesson stories.
Yeah. But it was also, like, empowerment shit. Like, you can hold it down, bro. Like, with the lessons dispensed by the institution of the Boy Scouts, like, you can hold it down. You can save your friend.
Masculinity.
Yes. Yeah, like... But,
where's that page at?
I don't know if you remember Sequest.
Oh, yeah. Sequest 2020? Or no?
Sorry, not Sequest. No, I do mean Sequest. You're thinking of C-Lab.
I'm thinking of C-Lab. Sequest was the one with, like, Jonathan...
yeah. And they had that dolphin in a tank that they always talk to. I can't look at the dolphin from Commandy without thinking about it. But if you think this is the most frightening cetacean you've ever seen, get ready for the one that is supposed to be scary and just ain't. If we get there.
If you can find it.
Yeah. I just remember it was toward the end. Maybe it was after this Frankenstein. Hell yes.
I like how that whale has a brow.
I like how he's a fucking pool toy.
Yes.
Like, there's some invisible little boy and his legs are going through there and he's holding a bag of wet chips.
That rules so much.
Thank you, Jack Kirby.
So I got Alpha Flight number 2. Now, earlier this week I texted Josh because I was thinking about getting rid of all my John Byrne stuff because I don't know why I just never vibed with his artwork. And then I cracked open a couple issues of Fantastic Four that I was like, I'm gonna get rid of these. I was like, oh shit, these are pretty good actually. And then I grabbed the Alpha Flights that I had. Like I have like 3 through 9 or something like that. Just grab them.
Everybody has 6 or 7 Alpha Flights. If your grandma says she doesn't have comic books, she's lying. Go look in your grandma's shit and you will find 6 or 7 Alpha Flights.
For no reason too. It's like I don't even know why I grabbed them out of the dollar, like probably at one of the discount bins, because like Alpha Flight to me, I don't know anything about it except it's like some Canadian XMen type shit or something, right? It's like basically a Canadian team, right?
Yeah, they government mutants.
Yeah. And I started looking through those and I was like, oh man, like John Byrne is for real. Like,
yeah,
and I know that
especially
sounds like,
when he's inked by Terry Austin.
Like, I know that sounds like for comic book fans, that's like an obvious thing to say, but I just never got into his work until earlier this week. So then I was like, all right, let me see if I can find a little bit more of this run. So I was able to grab number 2 on the low for like $3, which felt like a good deal to me. So grab that one.
Second haul video in a row with Evan Dorkin shit, bro. You gave me this. What made you give it up?
Yeah.
Put you on the spot.
Well, okay, so like I said this week, I was going through a thing where I was like, I gotta start thinning out my shit because I ordered so many comics this week. And I was like, I have all this stuff that's way too cool to just like recycle or try to sell to someone, but like I don't want to concentrate on it because I'll end up trying to track down 9 more issues of this or whatever. Or however. So I was like, well,
which is almost what I'm gonna have to do because I have Dork number 1.
So like if I pass it on to you, then it's like if I ever change my mind, at least I can read it. You know what I mean? Like I can be like, Josh, let me borrow Dork again or whatever. So that was my thinking when I passed this one along to you. So
well, that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah. We went to a fill-a-box sale back in February. We bring it up sometime. And the first week that we went to the fill-a-box sale, we both grabbed 2 boxes and we were both felt like gluttonous pigs. And then by midweek, we talked and we were like, wish I would have got more.
Yeah. Get someone on Thanksgiving leftovers, bro.
Yeah, we were like, let's go back next weekend or whatever. And so the second week that we went back, I was like, I'm just getting all these Savage Dragons. And they had like 100 issues of Savage Dragon. So I have like...
You threw me a bunch of doubles.
Yeah. And yeah, so not only did I get like 100 issues, but I probably got like 30 more doubles in there. So I had like issue like 20 or like probably like 10 through like 150 or something stupid like that. And there's a few little spots in there that I don't, but for the most part I have it. But weirdly do not have like 3 through 9. So now I have...
And those are the ones that are easy for me to find.
Those are the ones that everyone has, right? So these were each $1. I grabbed those.
Another joint you gave me. The staple bound comic. Like we've got a couple of these like from XMen cards and shit like this.
Yeah.
It's like take the cards that you spent $75 collecting and put them in a $2 book.
Yeah.
And they're bigger and easier to look at. Yeah. So go fuck yourself.
More common. You don't have to like get tons of packs and tons of doubles.
Yeah. I want to say this series came out when we were in 4th grade.
Probably. Let's see what the...
Like does it say 92?
I don't see a date. Yes, 92.
Okay. So we were both 10.
Yep.
Both in 4th grade. This card, I'm really happy is up front because that one made a huge impression on me. That was probably the first time I had ever seen the character Cyber. And then the second time was flipping through some back issues and spotting him on the cover in a Marvel Comics Presents.
Yep.
Drawn by Sam Keith. So it's just like...
Crazy looking.
This dude is really good at being portrayed as way cooler than he is. He's got some good luck. But let's quick flip through to some of them that I remember leaving.
The strong ones?
Yeah, this one I never thought is particularly strong, but I have incredible affection for how hilarious it is that Magneto was getting something out of his shed and you walked in on him and made him panic, I guess.
He walked into a hardware store and was like, blow. Because there's just a doorknob, a hatchet.
I told you not to touch my shit, now my shit's touching you. Like, I've always liked this one. When I was a kid, I didn't give a fuck about Iron Man. And to a large extent, I still don't.
Yeah.
But this image really makes you realize that it's not the costume that sucks.
Right.
It's just most of the people that draw it.
Yeah.
I still don't know who he is. I don't have the fucking Alpha Flight comic that has him in it.
That's a weird looking Canadian leaf, isn't it? I don't know.
I think they were trying to promote that character. Maybe he was new that year. Maybe that was when like Jim Lee was working on the book or whatever. But this was my favorite card in the whole series. Right
That
here.
beast? Yeah. That's cool.
Quasar looking like a fucking
Goofball.
70s bubblegum singer. Oh my goodness.
The Doctor Strange is pretty good.
Yeah. Like, portrait cards are often weak, especially when you got a costume as rad as Doctor Strange, but this is tight. And that Shatterstar.
Yeah, that's sick.
Is probably the best use of, like, laying a bowl down on a black paper and airbrushing the fuck out of it.
Tons of splatters.
Yeah, having him jump out of that portal. That Green Goblin is... This didn't make an impression on me when I was a kid, and I don't know why. Because Green Goblin is another one of those characters where you like, in the wrong hands, he looks really lame.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great picture of Green Goblin, and anyone who thinks that he looks a little goofy, like, this type of shit takes that and runs with it in just the right way.
Those eyelashes, is that what they are? They make him look even more sinister. Maybe this is part of the design, but it looks like he has these big eyelashes.
Yeah, I see. I think they're wrinkles? Just like eye wrinkles, but they're the black on them is really heavy.
Yeah. That's a tough guy, Sleepwalker.
Hell yeah, it is. That's Joe Jusko was the police, so all his guys gotta be turbo as fuck. And Nightmare, which is something I think both of us have just started like picking up a little bit.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man 2099, probably the seminal character of that year.
Yeah. I was lucky because I had just traded for 2 issues of this that are going to be in the mail sometime this week, hopefully. Nausicaa Valley, the Miyazaki book. I got these 3 nice and thick. Fucking lucky score. Just coming.
Yeah.
So
irritatingly lucky.
Yeah, I know you were like, are you gonna get those?
Another thing you gave me, a funny story about it though. I'd given it to you.
Yes.
I spotted this in a bin a long time ago. You like Richard Corbin, but you also like his more fantastical stuff. So I'm not mad that this came back my way because I really wanted this. And I just gave it to you because, like, I don't know, I just have this unspoken thing where I give you dibs on Corbin.
Yeah, well, I really like his fantasy stuff and some of his horror stuff. But there was something about this story. It seems so bizarre and, like, unique. It just seems something like that you would appreciate more than me.
This is the type of stuff that I like Corbin best, where it's, like, not necessarily horror, not necessarily really heavy sci-fi. Like, you're not going into, like, any, like, visually insane territory.
No.
Like, Preacher level weird.
Yeah.
That's the type of Corbin stuff I like, where it's like you're using Corbin and the uncanny way he draws people to make your weird story feel weirder, or as weird as it is. Like, I think one of my favorite things is that he's done is Punisher: The End.
I've never even seen or read that.
Oh, it's so good. We're gonna look at it sometime. It's gonna be on this show.
Have you read his Cage?
I leafed through it when I was a kid, and like, because he draws everyone in such exaggerated ways, and I wasn't familiar with Corbin. I say kid, I mean when I was 20. I was like, is this racist? This feels weird.
It sort of is, like, to be honest. Like,
it's so I like put it down.
It's not. I mean, I don't know if it's racist, but like, it's the writing. I think it's Brian Azzarello. I can't remember if it's, but it's very like weird. The writing is heavy. You know what I mean? Like, it's very, so, but
yeah, like everything I flipped through, like it was always like hood as fuck.
Really hood.
Like you're in a drug house, you're in a strip club. You're like,
But it is like interesting. It's an interesting. I think that's why I got it. It was because it's a unique piece. Like Richard Corbin doing Cage, like really hood. But it's the results are very mixed in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, in those now look, I'm not the hugest McFarlane fan. I do like his work, and I think like as an artist, as like an entity almost, I really respect him and everything he's done. From branching out to all different mediums to like his passion for creators is really important to me.
Yeah, and like you bringing up Byrne before, like I think one of the turnoffs with Byrne, if you know about him, is motherfucker just like doesn't know how to stop talking shit.
Yeah, he talks a lot of shit.
And it's like you've got this amazing body of work and like you can back your ego up or whatever, but like you don't need to talk that much shit. If I'm gonna pick a shit talker, like I'll pick Mark McFarlane over fucking Byrne.
Yeah.
Because Byrne shit talks to shit talk. He shit talks to tear people down, but like McFarlane's like out there giving people gigs.
Yeah, McFarlane. I mean, I think he truly loves comic books and comic book creators, and he believes in them, like having rights and things like that. Not getting
walked
ripped
into
off.
DC just to say, "Fuck you," just so you know, I'm not gonna work with you. I came here because I want to work with these guys.
I mean, that's so funny. It's like he just like preemptively burned his bridges before,
Yeah, like
that's how much he believed in like what they were doing.
I don't know if I could qualify that as big dick energy or not, but it's like it's a dick I would let be inside me.
Yeah. So, I have Spawn issues 1 through 20. And then I have a few loose ones from later. I got 1 through 20. That run is important to me. I remember them being issues that I wasn't allowed to get when I was a kid. Because, you and me both grew up in religious households. My parents not going to let me get anything that have demons and shit like that.
Yeah, my mom and pop were looking through my shit when I got it until I was probably 12 years old.
Yeah. And Spawn was so big when we were kids. I mean, that was the book everybody had or everyone wanted. So I got 1 through 20, and I truly think a lot of the art in those ones is. I think I like his early Spawn artwork better than I like all his Marvel work. Even though, his Marvel stuff is good, I think the early Spawn shit is like the pinnacle of his artwork or whatever. And so I saw 21, 22, 23, and I had to grab them. So if I think I have 24 and 20, if I run into them, I'll get them from here on out. So,
and I'm getting to the point where I might be in the same boat because like I don't like his Marvel shit at all.
Yeah,
it's like I almost like I've been picking up his SpiderMan shit out of like interest, but like I'm not gonna spend more than $1 on it.
No,
but like I'm coming around to the point where like I might spend a few bucks on an issue of Spawn.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like him having room to really do what he wants or what, but there's a whole different vibe to it.
They inked like the Incredible Hulk shit, right? I was always like fascinated with like seeing the Gray Hulk and like the way he drew it. But then I got some of those issues and I'm looking through it and it's just the inks are super thin and it just everything looks so rushed. I know there was times where he was doing like 100 pages of artwork a month.
Right.
So like
yeah,
that.
like,
So
maybe he had to hustle harder to make the same money he was making with Spawn. Who knows? But like, I don't know. You hear about deadlines serving artists and like pulling the best out of them because otherwise you'll just sit around and do nothing.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get around to like doing it, you might not even be in the mood anymore.
Yeah, totally.
And so it's like you need that fire out of your ass to like pull something cool out. Like my comic that I've like the first comic I ever made, only comic still to this point. Like I don't know if it would have been what it was if I didn't have a deadline.
Yeah.
But maybe he operates on a different wavelength and like not having that deadline or only being accountable to himself.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing. You know, because he didn't create a studio like some of those other Image guys. He's just like, I'm putting everything into Spawn.
Yeah, he's got,
and then he
to this day, or sorry, probably not to this day, but like at the time where he was launching Todd Toys, there was 3 people in his office, and I think one of them was him.
Yeah, I don't think he didn't really have a. I don't know, but Spawn was so big. I guess he didn't really. Maybe he felt like he didn't. I guess he didn't have to. So, yeah. I don't know. He's an interesting character, or like an interesting figure. So
he's a real character.
He's a real character. He's a real character. Mr.
You got Plastic Man in front of me.
Yeah, I do. Plastic Man's my favorite DC character.
Really?
That's not a villain. Yeah.
What about Batman? I'm just fucking with Josh because he does not like Batman. So.
And I provided a pregnant pause before you said that intentionally, so I can copy that clip of the video out to like 5 minutes of dead air.
I thought you were gonna like, so you could cut it.
Nah. No, we're just gonna have a fucking 20-minute video. It's 5 minutes of silence. I grabbed this because I like Plastic Man a lot, as stated. The people that make cartoons that look like cartoons, and like the character's fun. Like, it's one of the only comics that went into the Bronze Age and still had Silver Age type shit happening, because it wasn't a disservice to the character. But also, like, the lurker below, right? And you see this grade above, so it's like, you know what's up. And immediate, like, that could have been green, but it's not, because he's not fighting the shit that washes down the sewer drain when it rains. He's fighting a shit monster.
Yeah.
And it really, like, just last night I was going through my Savage Dragons and moving them all into one short box, and there's that cover with the dude double fisting the shit cannons and drowning Savage Dragon in the shit.
Yeah.
And so, like, the serendipity was too real to leave this behind, especially for $3. So
I almost left these and then decided I had to get them. This is the Longshot miniseries. I'm only missing one issue. There was one that number 5 wasn't there. You know, I didn't really knew that much about Art Adams. I had like loosely heard the name before.
His first gimmick.
And then over the last like few months, as Josh has been talking about him to me, like sort of teaching me about him, ask questions or whatever, I just find myself more and more interested in this strange artist who I feel must have had some influence on like a whole wave of comic book creators.
Oh yeah, like fucking McFarlane would talk openly with the other Image guys, you know, excluding Valentino and Silvestri, about how influenced they were, excuse me, by Art Adams. But like, so this is a 6-issue series, right?
Yeah.
It took him 8 months to pencil it. To pencil. He wasn't inking himself. He's inked by Whilce Portacio and somebody else, I forget. But so just the pencils took 8 months to deliver, and it was his first real gig. This guy stays working that slow, and that's a known quantity in the industry, and it's not even a complaint because you like it when you get it.
Yeah.
But these McFarlane and these dudes that like kind of like want that Art Adams vibe, Liefeld in his podcast, he's like doing his McFarlane impression. You know, if you can't get Art Adams on a monthly book, but you can get us. You can get us on a monthly book. So like it was very on like on its face.
Yeah.
As far as influences go.
But it's just like so impressive. His artwork is so impressive to me. It's like you said, it's like Liefeld or McFarlane, but just, I don't want to say better, but it's like sharper, or it's like more thoughtful. Like you said, maybe it took more time or something. I don't know how to quantify it.
It's more cartoony than Liefeld, and it's more solid than McFarlane.
Yeah.
Like there's like a... If I found out that all of McFarlane's characters had removable skin, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Like there's just some, like there's a weird gooiness.
Yeah.
And that's not even hate. That just is.
True.
But I'm surprised as we've talked over the past month about Art Adams, that you didn't know more about him and have more of his stuff than I did. Because like way back when I had finished my comic, you had said something about my art reminding you of Art Adams, and you don't know why.
Yeah.
And like, he was someone that I didn't even have, like I always admired, but I didn't even have enough of his stuff to consider him an influence. Like I wasn't observing him on a weekly or monthly basis. After you said that, it gave me the bug to grab his shit, and apparently me grabbing his shit gave you the bug.
Yeah.
We also grabbed these, I should say me, but I'm saying we, because if you have a YouTube channel and you have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics from Eastman and Laird, it's not just you that has them.
Yeah.
But we got Tales of the TMNT.
So what do you know what Tales was? It was like a...
It was a 7-issue series. Yeah. I don't know what it was meant to fill in.
Okay.
I don't know if it was... I know it's like in continuity with the rest of the stuff, but I don't know exactly where.
Right.
All I do know is this is the first Rat King, apparently. And that's what got me interested in it, because when I was looking for other TMNT issues, like you'd see this tagged, like first Rat King. And I bought this for $5 today. Everywhere I see it is 25 or more, so I'm down.
Yeah, you gotta, I mean, you spent a little bit of money on some of these TMNTs, but like, you got some really
There's
solid...
not a single one I didn't grab for like way less than I would have had to if I saw them elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely. So Rat King is dope.
Yeah. And these aren't Eastman and Laird drawn. These are, man, I forget the guy's name, but he works with...
Look at that, that's
Lawson.
awesome.
Jim Lawson.
Yeah.
He ends up working with Eastman and Laird a lot and being like their guy that works on the books when they're not having like Rick Veitch or, you know, like Richard Corbin or whoever do an issue. Yeah. And then these came with it as well. Got, I think these are both second printings. Number 5 and number 3. And I'm not going to be mad about not having the first printings of any of these, because if you go on the Mirage site, which we'll probably talk more about in a minute, they have like a historical database of all these issues. And it'll be like, you know, watch out for counterfeits and blah, blah, blah. But they have the page count next to each print. And as these print runs increase, so does the page count. So it's like the first issue, like a lot of like Turtles comics have some meat. So it's like the first printing for almost anything is like 40 pages. Which is cool because there's no ads in these, so you're getting like 36 pages in Ninja Turtles. But then the second print will have like 46. And some of that might be like forwards and afterwards, like, I can't believe we've, you know, sold, you know, this many. Thank you for sticking with us, because they were very like magnanimous and gracious about like,
they're awesome.
Everything. But you also get like added stuff on the tail of each of these.
That's awesome.
So take a look at the back of this one because this one was real interesting. First run. Well, second iteration of the first run, I guess, because I think the first run had the like squishy heads, right?
Yeah, the soft heads.
Yeah. Yeah, check this shit out.
Ghouls Night Out.
You can barely see through the duo shade, man. It's just like developed to fuck.
This looks awesome.
And listening to people talk about duo shade makes me respect Eastman and Laird even more, because like you get these cats like Bill Sienkiewicz and Howard Chaykin and stuff that you see use it here and there on pages. They'd cut a piece of the sheet off because it was so expensive and then lay it down like a paste up.
Yeah.
These dudes are just using it like a comic page.
Yep.
So it's like you got these guys that are like, not that they're millionaires or anything. I mean, well, Sienkiewicz might be now, but like Chaykin and Sienkiewicz were like making a decent living off of just comic books, and these dudes were scraping by until they realized what they had in their hands by, you know, selling out and having stores ask them if they want to do a second printing and whatnot.
Yeah.
That whole first issue had just as much fucking duotone as this.
A ton of it, yeah.
So like they invested more in their supplies than the professionals, and they were just like regular cats. So Eastman, Laird, love you, thank you.
The last thing I got was posts when we were about to check out. The store that we went to is going to have a sale next weekend, and I brought it up, and they were nice enough to honor it this week, or like with everything that we had picked up at that time. And so then I was a dick, and I was like, oh, let me go grab something else. Anyways, this is a Bernie Wrightson cover. There it is, 74. And
I think Wrightson was like their cover guy for House of Mystery.
Must have been. But the inside is not Bernie Wrightson, but it's actually really good artwork. Let's see who it is. I don't even remember what it said. Jerry, I don't know how to say that. Talaoc? I don't know. But
Teleoc?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, one of the things that I like about some of these old horror books is like the color, the muted kind of color schemes that they do, and then like I don't know if it's for speed or what, but like instead of going into any great deep, they're just like, yeah, just do the whole thing one color.
Yeah.
You know, I think that ends up actually looking pretty good, especially.
Well, you got to pay a separations person.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're paid by the hour. Like they're not some colorist getting paid by the page.
Yeah. But I think sometimes with these color palettes, it actually highlights like the ink jobs even better. Like it doesn't, I don't know, it like allows it to, you know, not be black and white, but still be powerful. And
yeah, more is being defined by the line than by the color.
Yep. So, I don't know. I would thought this was cool. Is this Bernie back here? Or is this
like it might be.
No, Ricardo Villamonte. I've seen his work before too. Is another one of those like fantasy vibes, almost like heavy.
Friend's done a video on him, hasn't he?
Okay, yeah, definitely. Anyway, so that was our haul for today. It was pretty successful.
Everything except the shit that Steve gave me is from Comic Signal in a suburb of Grand Rapids called Plainfield. So if you're ever in that area, please check them out.
Yep.
They're a super, super nice store that if they were a little bit closer, we'd stop by a whole lot more often.
Yes. My information, or all the information is in the description of this video. My Instagram, Josh's Instagram, and the Comic Book Lexicon Instagram. Thanks for watching.
Sure.
Sure.